Hello and welcome to another second grade episode of Math Matters. I'm Mrs. Cook, and today you're going to continue to deepen your understanding about place value of three-digit numbers. During today's lesson, you will be learning to identify the number that is 100 more and 100 less than a given number up to 999, and compare and order three-digit numbers. As you are working today, you will also have an opportunity to practice your communication skills by sharing your ideas through writing and creating mathematical representations. Today you will need paper and a pencil. We'll give you some time to gather your materials. A tool that we often use when we work with place value is called base 10 blocks. You may have seen these or used them in your classroom. Here we have a picture of what those blocks look like shown on the left. Mathematicians record their thinking and understanding using these tools. And as you're working today, you might want to use these yourself. But when we're drawing these pictures, we don't need to draw all the little tiny lines that you see here on your screen. You can use a simple sketch to show each of these blocks. For the hundreds flat, you can draw a large square. For the tens rod, a simple straight line will do. And finally, for the units cube or ones cube, you can draw a smaller square. Notice that the size of the hundreds flat and the ones cube is very different, even though they are both squares. Be mindful of this when you're using these representations today yourself. There's no need to get fancy trying to draw those lines that you see in the base 10 representations in the picture on the left. Just try to use these simple pictures so that you can quickly but clearly show your thinking as you work today. Today we're going to play a game of how many. We will be using three-digit numbers. The numbers will change by groups of 100. Sometimes we will add 100 or groups of 100, and sometimes we will subtract 100 or groups of 100. Use your pencil and paper to draw the base 10 blocks as we work. Remember, a 100s flat is a big square, a tens rod is just a straight line, and to show the ones cubes, you can draw a small square. Write down the number each time. As we are playing, be sure to notice what stays the same, what changes, and why. Are you ready? Let's get started. Our first number is 250. Take a moment to write or draw a picture of what 250 would look like on your paper. Did you draw 2 hundreds flats? 5 tens rods? And 0 ones cubes? Let's count it together. 100, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250. But now we're going to change it. Let's see how much. It says to add 100. Can you make a prediction about what our new number will be? Go ahead and draw another 100 flat on your paper. What's your new number? Here's our next 100s flat, and if you said 350, you are correct. Let's count it together. 100, 200, 300, 310, 320, 330, 340, 350. Great work! Now we have a start number of 350, which is already drawn on your paper. Let's see how much we're going to add or subtract this time. The change card says add 200. Go ahead and draw a picture with 2 more 100 flats on your paper. Can you make a prediction about what your new number will be? Let's check our work. Here are the 200s flats that we added. Let's count to see the end number. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540, 550. Was your prediction correct? 550 is our new end number. What are you noticing every time we add more hundreds? What's staying the same and what's changing? If you said the number in the hundreds place was changing, you're correct. Our new start number is 550, which is already drawn on your paper. Let's see what the change card tells us to do this time. Subtract 100. Can you make a prediction about what our new number will be? How will the digits change in our number? Go ahead and do your thinking now. Let's check our work. We took away one of our hundreds flats because it said subtract 100. Our new end number is 450. How did the number change and how did it stay the same? That's right. We took away 100. So the 5 in the hundreds place changed to a 4, but the digits in the tens place and the ones place stayed the same because we didn't add or take away any tens rods and we didn't change the number of unit cubes, which is 0. So those numbers stayed the same. We have a new start number this time, 823. Go ahead and take a moment to build that number on your paper now. Did you draw 8 100ths blocks because the digit in the hundreds place is an 8? 2 tens rods because the digit in the tens place is a 2, and 3 ones cubes because the digit in the ones place is a 3. This gives us the number 823. Let's see what the change card tells us to do this time. Add 100. Can you predict what your new number will be? Go ahead and show your thinking now. Did you predict that the new end number would be 923? That's correct. If we add just one more hundreds block, We go up from 8 hundredths to having 9 hundredths. So our answer is 923. The tens rods stay the same and the ones cubes stayed the same, but we added another 100. Our new start number is 923, which is already drawn on your paper. Let's see what the change card tells us to this time. Subtract or take away 200. Go ahead and show your thinking on your paper now. What will our new end number be? Let's check our work. If we take away 2 hundredths, how much will be left? Did you say 723? That is correct. The tens rods stayed the same and the units cubes stayed the same, but we removed or took away 2 1/100ths flats. So now we are left with only 7 hundredths. Our final answer is 723. Our new start number is 723, which is already drawn on your paper. The change card says to subtract or take away 300. If you're ready for a challenge, maybe you can try doing this one mentally without drawing on your paper. Can you predict what the new number will be? Don't forget to use the pattern of what you're noticing is changing and staying the same. Let's check our work. If we take away 3 hundredths flats, we are left with 423. Great work. Let's use the patterns that you are noticing to try one more. Remember, you can challenge yourself by trying to do this mentally and not drawing on your paper. Our start number is 423. If we add 100, can you make a prediction about what your new number will be? What will change and what will stay the same in your number? Let's check our work. If we add 100th flat, our new number will be 523. Did you think about what would change and what would stay the same? That's right. The 5 in the hundredths place is a change because we went from 4 hundredths to having 5 hundredths. But notice that the 2 and the 3 stayed the same. Our numbers of tens rods didn't change, so we kept the 2. The number of ones cubes didn't change either, so the 3 stayed the same. Our end number was 523. We are going to continue exploring place value of 3-digit numbers by learning to compare 3-digit numbers. 281 and 128. Which number is the greatest? How do you know? Mathematicians use representations to show their thinking. We're going to use a number line to compare these numbers. You can draw a number line like mine on your paper. Let's start by placing our 3-digit numbers on the number line. How do we know where to place them? We can use the benchmark numbers 100, 200, and 300 to help us figure out where to put the numbers on the number line. It is helpful to look at the number in the place with the greatest value. In the numbers we are comparing, the greatest place value is in the hundredths place, so we will begin looking at the digit or the number in the hundredths place first. Then we can continue comparing the numbers by looking next at the tens and ones places if needed. Let's start with 281. If we look in the hundredths place, we see the digit 2, which means there are 2 hundredths. And since we also have 8 tens and 1 in the ones place, we know that our number will be between 200 and 300 on the number line. But where will we put it between 200 and 300? Which benchmark number is it closer to? If we look at the digit in the tens place, we can get some more information. The digit 8 tells us there are 8 tens with the 200, or we say 280, which we know is closer to 300. Now let's look at the number 128. How do we know where to put 128 on the number line? If we look at the hundreds place, we see the digit 1, which means there is 100 in 128. That means this number will be between 100 and 200 on the number line. Next, we can look at the tens place. The digit 2 tells us there are 2 tens with the 100. So we need to place 128 on the number line closer to the 100 than it is to the 200. Which number is the greatest, and how do you know? That's right, 281. It's farther along the number line, closer to 300. It also has more hundreds than 128, so it is the greatest number. We could make these true statements about these two numbers when we compare them. 281 is greater than 128, or we could also say 128 is less than 281. Using your understanding of place and value will help you compare numbers and figure out which is greater. Let's compare two more numbers. This time we're going to use base 10 blocks instead of a number line to show our thinking. 347 and 352. You can use your pencil and paper now to build each of these numbers with base 10 blocks. We'll pause here to give you time to do your drawing. Your quick drawing probably looks something like this. 3 hundreds, 4 tens, and 7 ones for 347, and 3 hundreds, 5 tens, and 2 ones for 352. Now let's compare these numbers. Which number is the greatest, and how do you know? If we start with the largest blocks, or the number that is in the place with the greatest value, we would look at the hundreds place first. Both numbers have 3 in the hundreds place, which is shown by the 3 hundreds blocks in our picture. So next we look at the value of the numbers in the tens place. 347 has 4 tens, which is worth 40. 352 has 5 tens, which is worth 50. So which is greater, 4 tens or 5 tens? That's right, 5 tens or 50 is greater. Use this to help you complete the sentences below. Blank is greater than blank, or blank is less than blank. Which numbers would you put in these blanks to make the statements true? That's right. 352 is greater than 347 because it has more tens. We could also say 347 is less than 352. Were you able to successfully compare the three-digit numbers? Can you tell which is the greater number and why? Now we are going to look at ordering three-digit numbers. Once you know how to compare numbers, you can use that idea to put numbers in order from least to greatest or greatest to least. Create as many different three-digit numbers as you can using these digits, 4, 2, and 9. Write down on your paper the three-digit numbers you can make by rearranging the digits 4, 2, and 9. We'll pause here to give you time to write down as many numbers as you can using these digits. Here are some of the numbers you might have written down. Check to see if you had the same numbers. If you're missing some of them, go ahead and write them down on your paper now. How would you write these numbers in order from least to greatest? Let's talk about how you might begin. Least to greatest means the smallest number all the way up to the biggest number. Start with the numbers that have the fewest hundreds. Which of these numbers listed here have the fewest hundreds? That's right, 294 and 249 both have 2 hundreds. So which one is the smallest? We must look at the tens place. 294 has a 9 in the tens place, and 249 has a 4 in the tens place. So 249 is smaller. Let's continue. Which of the remaining numbers has the fewest or least number of hundreds? That's right, 492 and 429. How will we figure out which one is less? And we'll go next in our order. That's right, we need to compare the digits in the tens place since we already have the same number of hundreds. 429 comes first because it has 2 tens, and 492 has 9 tens. That leaves us with 924 and 942. Can you figure out which number comes next? That's right, 924 comes first because they both have 900, but 20 is less than 40. So 924 comes before 942. How did you do? Understanding how place and value of each digit in a three-digit number is very helpful when comparing and ordering numbers. You might want to continue exploring comparing and ordering numbers at home. All you will need is some paper and a pencil. You can write down the digits 0 through 9 on separate pieces of paper. When you're ready, choose 3 digits to make a three-digit number. Write down as many three-digit numbers as you can using those same 3 digits. Then you can use number lines or base 10 blocks to compare all the three-digit numbers you wrote down. You can even make 4 or 5 three-digit numbers and practice ordering and comparing them. Good luck! Let's reflect on our learning for today. As I read each statement on the screen, give us a thumbs up if you've got it, A thumb in the middle if you're still practicing, or a thumbs down if you think you might need some help. I am learning to identify the number that is 100 more and 100 less than a given number up to 999. I am learning to compare and order 3-digit numbers. As you think about the learning goals for today, maybe there's something new you learned that you don't want to forget. Or maybe there's something we talked about today that you still have questions about. Take a minute to record your reflections and save them for the next time you're able to check in with your teacher. Thank you for joining us for today's second grade episode of Math Matters. My name is Mrs. Cook, and I hope you'll join us again tomorrow for some more math fun. Have a great day.